Hey everybody, how's it going? Well, if you're tuning in, you probably already know, but we're doing another episode of Under the Radar where we look at weird, interesting, or unusual games. So we are continuing our surprisingly and slightly unexpected for me long series on Steve Jackson's Sorcery. I was thinking this was going to actually take much less time, but partly I think I'm just bad at this game. So yeah, if you guys are interested in seeing me, feel free to keep watching. Thanks for joining me. All right, so last we left off, I'm wandering around this wasteland, which can become a not wasteland through the use of these magical telescopes. Uh, Basically, there's a past and a future. The past where everything's great, the future where everything is terrible and awful and miserable. And I have to try to, in the present timeline, which is the bad timeline, hunt down 7 evil serpents that are trying to kill me and will likely succeed very many times in the next few episodes. So right now I am back in time trying to check out this bridge, but I'm gonna probably have to go. Well, yeah, I guess that's enough talking. Let's just keep going. So yeah, I'm in the future checking out this bridge, but I'm realizing as I go that the magic time spell doesn't extend far enough to take me all the way to the other side. So I'm probably gonna have to go back here and turn off the thing eventually. But I figured I'm already up here, so let's see what the bridge has in store for us today. You return up the winding path to the top of the mountain. Days are short out here. The evening is drawing in. It will be night soon. At the peak of the mountain is a sudden plateau looking down across a fetid, swampy village to the east, but you may not need to tramp through them, as a magnificent stone bridge spans outward from this peak. Away eastward! You stride forwards, but a figure emerges from a low hut by head of the bridge and blocks your path. Ho there! You call out. Greetings! The figure turns to you, leaning heavily on its stick. He is aged, with one eye much larger than the other and a hunch on his back. As you see him, he sees you.
An ugly sort. What brings you here? If Bacchus's bridge you wish to cross, prepared. Be for dismay and fear.
You are Bacchus, you cries?
Bacchus is my name, it's true. I give you that, what good it do?
What lies in the valley below?
Marsh and mud, a tower death, above it all, a drop to catch the breath.
The bridge keeper pauses to scratch his swollen right eye. I wish to cross your bridge. He nods.
This is my bridge, it spans a rift. To pass you must provide a gift.
The sudden image of the mirror pops into your head. Reluctantly, you hand over the gold-backed mirror. He regards it for a moment, then shakes his head.
Don't like it, it's no good.
Without pausing, he tosses the mirror away over his shoulder, and you watch as it tumbles away out of sight. Something better, if
you would.
That line of the gale horn appears in your thoughts. Perhaps we can come to an arrangement, you begin. Vankis shakes his head without interest. Then the hunchback looks up sharply.
Unless a simpler price you'd gladly pay. An arm, a leg, a finger, pray?
You shake your head. Vankis shrugs.
Just as you please. Patience is some men's disease.
With a thought, he gently reminds you of the original price, the gale horn. Your heart, you find, is pounding. You turn and leave the mountaintop. Yeah, okay, screw that. I'm not losing that gale horn. That thing seems nice. Ground rises, falls, da da da. Yeah, enjoy the piece overhead. Alright, so yeah, let's go back here and turn it, and let's see if I can fight the moon snake. I have more stamina now. This is probably gonna be bad. The path from the mountain joins the ancient road. Darkness closes in. You should find a suitable spot to sleep. Suddenly, the ground beneath you rumbles and begins to slide into itself. There's no time for a spell. Your arms are wide, trying to maintain your balance. You try to jump clear, but can gain no decent purchase in the shifting sand. Meanwhile, the ground is moving away faster and faster from under your feet. You fall backwards, spreading out your legs to reduce your pressure on the sands. Then you scramble back as fast as possible, trying to escape the growing pit. You scramble back, just as something launches through the sand to come for you. It's a Badu beetle. You know what? I think I'm gonna try. Will it let me do a pop? Yeah, okay, cool. I haven't tried this one yet. You craft a spell over one of your petals. Uh, you wait for the beetle to stretch wide its terrible jaws and toss a pebble in between them. There's a pause and then a muffled explosion. The Badu beetle's skull collapses inward like a deflated bladder. It falls and is quickly swallowed into its own quicksand. Time to be moving on. That's what you get, jerk. Get out of here. That nonsense. You abandon the road and cut across the suddenly grassy fields. The first few steps, stars appear. You reach the base of a stone tower. The moonlight picks out an outline of a door. The moon gazes down impassively. Oop. Step back into the shadows, be under shelter from the icy wind. Yeah, I should probably just go ahead and sleep here, honestly. You stand in a wide, cool, cavernous space. The roof disappears off above you, dimly echoing your footsteps. The air is musty, perhaps undisturbed for centuries. The hatch in the ceiling is open, letting in a trace of starlight. This is a calm, sheltered place to rest. You should be protected from the elements and from any creatures about the night. You lie back and try to forget your troubles. You are protected here, and your rest is untroubled by dreams. Base of the tower, day 7. During the last day, you found no key clues. Thanks for reminding me how bad I am, game. The sun may have risen outside, but the only windows here are thin slots. The inside of the tower is cavernous and empty, but for a stone staircase that spirals around the walls. The hatch at the top of the stairs is open. Now it is time to move on. You could go back out to the plain, or up to the top of the tower once more. Yeah, I need to turn off the magic. Adjust beam. So I guess I will adjust the beam. Oh, look, there's a city over there. Let's do that, so that way, if I don't fight and defeat the Moonstake, I can at least go check out that city and see what's going on over there. Alright, make a move. Yeah, and like I said, since this is a lot more free roaming, I'm not going to read all the text if I'm just going, as I'm going to be probably going back and forth to these places quite a bit. I don't want to have to, do all this over and over again. Oh, you walk on across the grassland until you meet the edge of an old road. The air stirs a little, still cold, but fresh. A clatter of wheels makes you turn your head. A cart is approaching, driven by a broad figure in a long cloak. You step into the cart's path and raise a hand. The figure raises a fist in return. "Stranger," calls the figure, "do you want blood?" "What manner of blood, you call?" The cart driver booms a cheerful laugh. "All kinds." Oh, wow, I really misjudged that voice, huh? She throws her hood and waves towards the back of the cart. "I am the butcher of Badhubak. Steak of elephant, blue hide, and snattercap, ribs of goats." Your stomach rumbles at the thought. "What do you fancy?" The driver gestures with a brandished cleaver to the back of her cart, from which a thin river of blood trickles. "Oh, please. Oh, I need food so badly." "Let me see it." "Of course." She leaps up from the driving seat and pulls back the canopy on the side of the cart. The back is filled with row upon carcasses. You nod. "I'll buy something from you." She beams with pleasure. "What'll it be?" "The elephant steak is 7 gold pieces. Blue hide is 10. The steaks are bloody and raw, and will be no good without cooking. Uh, Give me Staticat, you declare. "Excellent choice," the butcher replies. She pulls a bloody joint from the pile in the back of the wagon. She holds them out by the bone towards you. "Can you wrap it?" You hand over 10 gold pieces as she gives you the meat, wrapped in a short length of muslin cloth. You put it carefully into your pack. Raw meat must be cooked before it will serve as a ration. With that, the butcher whips up her oxen and rolls away across the plains. Okay, so I gotta find a way to cook it, I guess. But I figure I can worry about that later. And now that at least I have food. You begin to make your way up the mountainside. As the morning moves on, the wind begins to rise. The climb is eventful and the slopes are silent. Alright, let's see. Will I be able to fight the moonsnake? Part of me is hoping not. Okay, here we go, everybody. About to get rocked. You return up the winding path to the top of the mountain. The mid-afternoon heat fills the landscape. You reach the top of the mountain once more. Something seems to flicker in the air overhead. You call up to the flickering shape. It seems to hover, thickening a little at the sound of your voice. Perhaps you can call it down if you know what will attract its notice. "You are the Moon Serpent!" The words echo across the stones and are lost. The shimmering disappears. Time to head for lower ground. Oh, well, shit. I guess that didn't work. Did I scare it away? That's weird. Let's check out this village, I guess. You pace down the steps. As you descend the mountain path, you see a woodland palisade, spiked trunks planted to form a fence with a single gate. From beyond comes the sound of chanting and banter. It's a village! It seems to be a bustling, busy place. Presumably, this village owns the fields and farmlands through which you have been walking. You could go in or skirt around it. I'm going in. Please help me. Oh God. You pause on the other side of the gate, one hand on your sword hilt should anyone be foolish enough to spring a trap. Nothing untoward occurs. The village is a small collection of wooden huts built into a basin with the mountains at its back. In the center is a fire pit surrounded by tables and benches. Several groups are sitting and eating. I guess it's possible, chat, that the moon snake is gone, but there's got to be some way that I can fight the moon serpent again. I guess maybe I should just proceed and see what happens. But I mean, if I miss the moon snake, then I'm already screwed, right? So there's got to be some way that I can find him again. Maybe it's just in a different spot. I don't know, chat. I'm not sure how to interpret this. Pleasant smells drift over from the kitchen hut. The afternoon is drawing on. Oh, yeah, let's check out the kitchens. In one corner of the village is a cook's hut. Inside, a lady is stirring a deep cauldron. She looks up and nods to you through the doorway. The sun begins to dip, heading towards the horizon. Jeez, is it already getting nighttime? How am I wasting so much days here? You step inside. Greetings, you declare. You're welcome, the chef replies. If there's something you want, if you don't want anything, there's the door. The chef goes to a shelf to collect some herbs from a jar. What can you tell me about this village, you ask? The chef shrugs. This is Kariyama, the main village in the fields of Ishtara. Where are you from, if you do not know that already? I'm from Analand, you tell her. I've traveled through the Shamutani Hills in the city of Kare. She laughs. You are a storyteller, she replies. I have never heard of any of those places. But still, you are welcome here. The lady pours oil into the soup from a flask above the cauldron. You look into the cauldron the cook is stirring. Meat broth, the cook says, but it looks like there isn't any meat. That's because it's a snatacat. I don't understand. You frown and shake your head. I don't understand. Snaticats are invisible, she explains. Or at least, when they have their eyes closed, they are. And since some close their eyes when they die, you can end up with invisible meat. Everyone says it tastes nicer than the visible kind. I'm not so sure. It's certainly harder to cook right. Thin smell of smoke wafts into the tent. Oh, by Throth, the cook curses and disappears through a flap at the back. For a moment, you are alone. You wait. After a few moments later, the cook appears, somewhat red-faced. There is a smell of smoke about her clothes. We can't afford to race any meat, she says. That could have been most difficult. I had to bat out the fire with my skirt. You ask how much the broth will be. The cook tips her head. The butcher's just been, she replies. So there's plenty to go around. It's 5 gold pieces for a bowl. That's too much, you tell her. She shrugs. That's the price. We don't haggle in Kariyama. Another time, perhaps, she shrugs. As you like. There's nothing more of interest here. You turn and leave the hut. Slowly, the sun begins to lower in the sky. Oh, can I cook my meat here? That'd be cool. The fire pit is in the center of the village. You walk past low huts. A few figures glance at you, but they show little interest. The fire is kept low and smoldering, ready to be reignited in the evening. A few people surround it, watching and talking. Greetings, you declare to the people nearby. They look up at you with some curiosity. I'm a visitor here. So we see, one woman replies, and a few others laugh. Then they seem to lose interest in you and return staring at the fire and talking to each other in low voices. Someone passes around a charred joint of meat, offering you a bite. You take a bite. The meat is black and sooty, but rich with flavors and spice. Having taken your share, you pass the meat on to the next person. You unwrap the portion of raw meat you have been carrying and roast it in the fire. You save your provisions. They should keep well. Oh, it only gave me 1 rations? I was kind of hoping for more. You sit down beside the woman who spoke earlier. She looks familiar from somewhere, but you cannot place it. She nods in acknowledgement, but says nothing. May I ask you some questions? The woman asks. Of course. How could I prevent you? What is this place called? This village is Kariyama, the most beautiful village in Ishtara. What can you tell me of the Baklands? She frowns. The Baklands? It seems the name is unfamiliar to her. It is of no importance, you reply. It seems wherever you are, this place is far removed from Kakabad, at least for these people. She kicks at the fire with one foot. You talk a lot, she observes. Is that normal from where you come from? I rarely see people, you explain. You travel alone? She asks. I do. She nods. Well, you are amongst us, should you wish to say. She smiles. Ishtar is the center of the world, she replies without irony. We will survive forever. I hope so, you reply, thinking of the barren plateau you crossed in the spot before, where not even a trace of a hut remained. The woman looks at you curiously, but does not reply. You nod to the woman and get to your feet once more. Stranger, one of the villagers declares, we were having a discussion. Who would most likely be to best the other in a fight, the goblin or a wolf? I have seen such a fight. You have, they declare with pleasure. And who was the strongest in battle? The wolf, no doubt? A goblin is cunning and sword-wise, another declares. No wolf is a match for a blade. I did not say to find out. A shame, the villagers reply with a sigh. A missed opportunity on your part, I think. We will ask the archmage to deliver one of each, decides the villager with a sigh, in the name of learning and scholarship. What is north of this village, you ask? Tunnels, one replies. A few others look uncomfortable. There are tunnels, another answers, but we do not go there. Why not? The villagers exchange glances. Because there is no need, one replies finally, and there are some dangers. What dangers? Something lives there, the villagers reply darkly. There's no danger here in Kariyama. The archmage keeps us quite safe. But under the mountain, well, the woman talking sighs. They say magic doesn't work under the mountain. Where do the tunnels lead? The villagers shake their heads. One points sharply downwards, but beyond that they do not answer. Enough questions, one other villager says. Please, don't go into the tunnels. We have no wish to send you to your doom. He smiles and pats you on the shoulder. The base of the smoldering fire pit are a few pebbles and some sand. Oh, I'll take a pebble. You move to the pitch, then pause. There's still plenty of heat coming from the fire. Oh yeah, that sounds like a bad idea. You leave the things in the fire pit. They are certainly too hot to hold. You toss a nearby stick on the fire, and it begins to gently smoke and smolder. There is a great sense of peace here. You stand and nod to the woman as you head away from the fireside. The sun begins to dip, heading towards the horizon. I guess I'll stay here in this village. This seems nice. And it's already getting night. You pass a few hours in idling around the village until the sun dips behind the towering mountains and the air grows cold. You head towards a large hut that is filled with mattresses and cots. It seems to be not an inn, but a communal sleeping place. A few people are asleep already. Whoops. Dang. Nope. I didn't want to do that. I clicked the wrong thing. Is it fair to just do this if I click the wrong thing? I think that's fair. Lie down. You choose a mattress and settle down. You lie still for a while with your eyes closed, listening to the murmured conversations of other people in the hut. Amidst sundries about village life, one in particular stands out, a young girl murmuring to her friend, at least one of the tunnels is still open. Don't be a fool, Mia, the other replies. Why would there be tunnels? So the goblins can come in? I'm telling you, I saw one. I went in. Another voice hisses at them to be quiet. I'll show you tomorrow, the girl hisses. You'll see. Her friend appears to shrug, and then the conversation ends. But you're tired and haven't had enough eavesdropping. You let yourself rest. At least you have eaten once already today. You stretch out and rest. You seem guarded here, and you do not dream. In the sleeping hut, day 8, you gained one provision and lost considerable gold, entered the village of Kariyama, and found no new clues. The sun rises through the flaps of the hut. The girl and her friend wake quickly and begin to make their way out of the hut. You follow them out of the hut and through the northern gate of the village. Yeah, see, for long, I actually don't know what a Casio hack is, so I don't get the joke. Sorry. By the rocks. The two girls make their way up an overgrown path that leads out of the village to a rocky outcrop, behind which you make out a gloomy tunnel mouth. You follow at a discreet distance. In there? One of the girls says. Why did it go in there? It just bolted. After a rabbit, maybe, a girl called Mia replies. But what should I do? You keep listening. You can't go in, the first girl says firmly. There are things in there. But Kitty, Mia complains. What if she's hurt? You step out of the bushes and stride towards the two girls. They stop and stare, clearly terrified by your appearance. You have lost your dogs? You suggest. The two girls stare a moment longer, then burst into a fit of giggles. Are you a tramp? One asks. What are you wearing? The other demands. Are you some kind of fancy monk? I'm a traveler. And a poor one at that, the first girl remarks carelessly. I will rescue your dog, you tell the girl called Mia. She looks uncertain. Will you? Why would you do that? To help you. You won't help me by getting yourself eaten, she replies practically. But thanks anyway, I suppose. What's in these tunnels, you ask? The girl shrugs. I don't know. Do I? Things. I've never been in. And I will find out what is inside, you declare, and approach the tunnel mouth. I'm probably gonna die, but I gotta help. You approach the tunnel mouth and lift away the covering of vines. The passage descends dank and dark into the bowels of the mountains beyond. Your tinderbox can provide a spark, but without something to burn, you cannot keep the flame going. The mountains overhead create an imposing sight. You walk as though into an ancient tomb. Even the air smells musty and old. But there is a breeze on your hand. Does that mean there is a way through? You make your way slowly through the narrow entrance in the cool dark of the tunnel. You hold out a hand to feel your way forward. You try to make out something of the tunnel walls, but the darkness is absolute. You follow the cold stone with your fingertips. Hopefully this dog isn't too far down here. You stumble onward, squinting in the gloom. The tunnel winds on a steady course, with occasional branches that lead to dead ends. It becomes clear this is not a natural cavern. Wooden pillars line the walls, creaking under the weight of the stones. You test one of the pillars for strength, applying a little pressure. It responds with a crunching, crackling sound, and dust rains down in the spill. You raise your eyes up, but it seems this deep below the mountain the presence of the starlight cannot reach you. You are powerless. You move forward slowly through the darkness. Being careful not to lean on the pillar, you keep one hand on the wall to your left and allow it to guide you. Then your foot strikes something hard. Not a rock, a length of metal perhaps? You reach down and feel for the object, a long metal spike, with a wooden pole at its center. A pickaxe! Someone has been mining down here. A few steps further on, you collide into a wooden wall that reaches from knee height to neck height. It appears to be on wheels. A minecart, then. You reach over and into the cart, hoping to find some treasure or valuable metal, but it is empty. There's not even any discarded rock. You push at the cart, but it must have been here for an age. It moves an inch and then the wheels stick fast. The squeal of rusted iron echoes in the chamber like a scream. You inch through the darkness, moving more cautiously now. You make your way slowly through the dark. Soon your hand feels nothing but air. A side passage. Empty darkness leads in three directions. You close your eyes and raise a prayer to the fox. Nothing happens. Have you been forgotten in the dark? But as your eyes adjust, you notice something dimly glowing at the end of the side passage. You edge down the passage, your footsteps muffled by thick sand. You trip over more abandoned and broken tools. Then you are close enough to see a curved golden object pointing from a pile of rubble. This is the source of the light, which is pulsing softly. Besides the pile of rubble are two large shapes that look like jars. You edge around the jars as you try to get closer to the artifact. It is a horn! The dim glow makes the rest of the cavern dark, and you trip and stumble as you approach. Whatever it is clear it is infused with magic and must be quite valuable. But it seems to have only halfway freed from the rock. The wall feels smoother in places, like you're feeling a built wall instead of a tunnel. The ground here also feels different. You toss a small pebble down it, and the echo tells you it must be quite small. The soft green light on your skin makes you look ill. You pick up one of the large clay jars to move it aside, giving you more room to work on the rubble surrounding the horn. But in the darkness you trip over a pickaxe, and the jar tumbles from your hand, shattering on the ground. In the blue-green light you can see sand spilling out. Then sand begins to spiral upwards. The rustling torrent is so strong now that it knocks you to the floor. Surely the jar could not have held so much? You scramble backwards across the ground, trying to get away, as the sand forms into a whirlpool-like shapes. Two deep black vortexes appear in its side and roam queasily across the surface until they reach the top. There they swivel, widen, and seem to focus on you. You cast about, looking for some advantage, and your eye lands on a discarded pickaxe. You grab the axe and hold it out threateningly violently, but the whirlpool creature simply sucks it in. The axe swirls around inside at violent speed before being smashed to pieces and spraying in all directions. The sand vortex is very close now. It is cornering you against a pillar. Looking around wildly in the dark, you can't think of anything. You take a few steps back and feel hard stone at your back. The creature expands. Is this how it ends? You cover your head, expecting the fatal blow, but before the creature can strike, the tunnel rumbles with holy vengeance. Rock crashes down from the ceiling, burying it. You have been saved by the fox, but the rumble is still there. A few more boulders crash, narrowly missing you. The tunnel is collapsing, with you in it. You rush back towards the main tunnel, the creature close behind, though the ceiling caves in at your heels, burying it. You rush back towards the main tunnel, but just as you think you're safe, you look to see a chunk of the ceiling falling towards you. You wince as the ceiling crashes down, missing you by inches. Dust settles and you can't hear anything. There is no turning back now. You are trapped in the dark. You are in pitch darkness. Whether it is night or day is impossible to tell. The air is freezing cold. You feel about until you find the tunnel wall. You follow the rough stone wall, stumbling and tripping until you come to a blockage. You feel your way across the stones, hoping to find a cheek or a no. But there is nothing. You trace the wall the other way. Oh, I guess it's our special guest star, the train. If you can hear it, I still haven't figured out if anything fun to do, so I guess I'll just keep going on. You trace the wall the other way. The passageway curves and bends. The going is difficult, with lots of near dead ends. Then, finally, a chink of daylight appears. It is like water after a long thirst. You have found the tunnel mouth. You hurry gratefully out of the tunnel to soft, damp air. Where are you now? You emerge blinking from the underground tunnel to find yourself on the edge of a vast, deep forest. From the position of the sun, you can see her on the other side of the Badubak Ridge. There is only one way forward, into the trees. So, I didn't have any luck finding that dog. Well, I'm guessing that dog's probably dead. You barge your way through the thick trees, brushing branches from your face. Things chitter in the leaves all around. There's barely more light here than there was in the tunnels below the earth. You pause to try and get your bearings in the trees, but you are surrounded and can barely make out the mountains through the dense canopy. Something moves in the corner of your eye. Have you been spotted by a beast already? You crash on through the thick foliage. You erupt from the trees onto an old path that winds a narrow course through the forest. The trees loom around you, twisted and old. You explored the forest in the Shamutani Hills when you met Aliana, but that was a mere corpse in comparison to this. The forest of Snada is ancient and is a maze. There are no roads through it, only twisted paths and dead ends. But who knows what secrets it may hide? The forest is beautiful in its own way. Water drips down the leaves along twisted vines. Birds flutter through the bracken-like canopy. Everything is moist and damp. The path is winding and frequently disappears. Perhaps it has been made by animals and not by people. You find a suitable looking tree close at hand and swing yourself onto the lower branches. From there it is a reasonably straightforward climb up into the canopy. You reach the top of the tree, but there is no view. From here you can see nothing but more trees, stretching away into the distance. The only exception is to the south, where an enormous broken stone arch rises a dizzying height into the air. There is little else to be done up here. You glance down at the tree towards the ground, just as something moved past on the path below. Leaves stir, then the shape is gone. You make your way carefully back down to the ground, but halfway down, one of the branches cracks under your weight. With no idea how close to the ground you are, you let go and fall. You hit the ground with a thump, but the earth is soft. You are fortunately unhurt. Near the foot of one tree is a broken branch and a slightly bruised bamba fruit. Bamba fruit are particularly nutritious, and this one is in good shape despite its fall. You pick it up and put it into your pack. You stride forwards, feeling the day's first rumblings of hunger in your stomach. You must reach Ilikaka in the road to Lower Zaman. Every passing day brings danger. I don't know where to go now, honestly. I guess let's keep moving forward. We'll just take all this bad stuff that's happened to me and just keep right on rolling. You walk on between the trees. The sun is beginning to lower. Already? Jeez. The air begins to cool. The smell of rotting leaf mulch fills your nostrils. A pile of boulders here is topped by a patch of yellow moss, similar to the one you smelled earlier. You gather up a handful of moss. It is much like the last bunch you tasted. Wait, was that good or bad? I can't remember. Feeling bolder, you put a clump of the mouth into your mouth and chew. Thick yellow juices run down your chin. Swallowing the thin clump is hard, but almost as soon as you do, you feel a great warmth spreading up to from your stomach. Whatever this moss is, it seems to be most beneficial. You continue on your way. You follow what might be a path and might be an old river through the trees of the forest. The wind picks up as the evening draws on. You emerge from the trees into a clearing by a low hill. This is an exposed place. You would be unwise to stay long. But there's a house here. You skirt around the north side of the hillock. There is something quite artificial about its shape. The sides are almost perfectly smooth. There is definitely something strange about this hill. You decide to make a full circuit to see what you can find. As you pass the southeast side of the hillock, you come across an incongruous wooden doorway set into the curvature of the hill. You step over to the doorway to examine it more closely. Hopefully this won't get me killed. The door is made of heavy wood, carved with various runes and symbols in a language you do not know. You knock on the door. There is no reply. Whoops, didn't want to do that. You try the door. It is not locked. A dark passageway is revealed beyond. Hi, are there any snakes in here? The door opens through a short, dark hallway, descends into the hill. Is this a tomb? You begin to see a glowing light ahead and hear a voice murmuring low, angry curses. A little sunshine falls through the doorway. There is still time to turn back. Nope, not me. That's not how I roll. You keep moving forward, and the passage quickly opens out. You enter a small room lit by a single candle on a wooden table. Seated at the table is a spindly creature whose attention is focused on a glass orb set in a plinth. Oh geez, that looks very serpent-like. You watch as the creature stares into the orb, which swirls with colors and shapes. It mumbles something quietly. You open your mouth to announce yourself, but the silence is broken by a squeaky voice.
Yes, yes, all right. Don't stammer like a half-orc. I'm busy. Sit down.
A thin finger gestures towards a stair in the corner. You sit down as instructed. After a few minutes, the creature leans back from her orb and looks up at you.
So, a visitor. A human, too.
Greetings.
Greetings to you, indeed.
As the light from the glass orb fades a little, you see the speaker is a woman, some kind of elf, though she appears somewhat disfigured. What is your name?
Fenestra, now human. As my time is more precious than yours, I will soon lose my patience with you. What in Gred's name are you doing in this miserable forest?
All these are pretty good. I'm looking for Seven Serpents, you declare. Do you know of them? She stiffens.
I do indeed.
Her tone is wary.
What, pray, is your interest?
I intend to destroy them, you answer honestly. She nods.
Many have tried, but if you wish to try as well, that is good. Gred knows the serpents are no friends of mine.
Her voice shakes as she speaks. You have reason to hate them, I think, you observe.
The water serpent killed my father, she declares coldly. This I shall never forgive.
How did he die?
His head was bitten off at the neck, she answers.
A single tear forms in the corner of her eye.
My father did not know the weakness of the water serpent, so he could not survive its attack.
I'm sorry for your loss. She nods. From her cloak she produces a flask of oil.
Water and oil do not mix. Now I keep a store, so I can spare this.
I will avenge your father.
Or join him, I'm sure.
Her eyes flick back down the orb.
And is that all?
She asks. What are the weaknesses of the other serpents? You ask.
Here's what I know, she replies. The moon serpent cannot abide fire. And one more thing.
Fenestra glances at the glass orb on her table, then back at you. She appears to be deciding whether or not to trust you. Finally, she says,
The serpent of fire can be doused with sand.
I hope this will prove of use to you. The orb on her table swirls with color even more violently. Fenestra sits up sharply.
You must go, she declares. I have work that must be attended to.
What do you see in your orb? You ask. She regards you coolly.
See for yourself,
she suggests, pointing into the glass. Shapes swirl inside the crystal. You peer into the orb, and then your jaw begins to drop, for inside the glass is a winged serpent.
It is the sun serpent, Fenestra murmurs. The one called Flanker helped me to trap it. I lured it down from the skies using a rain spell and offered it shelter, for the sun serpent cannot tolerate water, of course. And then he trapped it.
I know Flanker well, Fenestra nods.
This poor creature despises him, don't you? She taps the glass and the serpent lunges uselessly against the glass in reply. Why not kill it, you demand? Her expression turns cold. The sun serpent is mate of the water serpent. They have a doomed, impossible love. It is enough for me to lure the beast, and when it comes, I will kill them both and thus avenge my father. But the creature might escape. We must destroy it for good. Fenestra narrows her eyes at you. Be warned, Analander. The serpent will reach into your mind and control your will if you allow it. It would do anything to be free. Can I do a sus maybe? Yeah, that'll work. Sus. Give me that knowledge. Reaching up to the stars, you create a magic and a steady voice speaks to you. The serpent is trapped, the voice declares. It cannot hurt you. You peer deeper into the glass, and a large black slit eye floats up to meet you. It is possibly large to fit into the small glass. Surely the orb cannot hold it. Can you hear me? You ask Can it hear me? You ask Finestro. She nods. But it will not listen or speak. It is pure rage, pure will. There is no way this orb shall hold the creature. And should it escape, your mission will be revealed. The orb must come with me, you declare. The fate of the land is at stake. Finestra stares at you with hard eyes. You may take it, in return for two promises, she replies. First, that you will destroy this orb and the snake inside in such a fashion that they cannot return. Know that breaking the glass will set it free, so be sure you do not do that. I shall drop it into a lake. It would surely sink and crack, she replies, and though the serpent would be weakened by the water, it would be free. I shall bury it. Do not, she replies. The pressure of the earth would be enough to crack the glass, and the slightest crack would be enough to release the creature within. Remember this, the sun always rises. And how can I destroy it, you ask? Utterly and completely, or not at all, she replies. There may not be any way to do it. Are you sure you wish to take it? Yes, I will find a way. Very well, then, she nods. The second thing is more important, her eyes cold and hard. Find the water serpent in Lake Ilkaka and do not leave it alive. And do not die in the attempt to kill it. Will you do that for me? I shall, you vow. Then with a nod she steps aside and lets you take the orb with the trapped serpent inside. It will not serve you for the casting afar, she adds. The serpent will not allow it. You nod, understanding. Then you put the strange orb carefully into your pack. You nod to her and leave the underground room. Yay, I got a marker for a dragon. I am 100% not ready for that fight. Okay, well, where were we? Let's see. So I should have a dragon item now, right? What is it? Why is it under weapon? It's not under weapon. Treasure, maybe? Yeah, I got two rations. That's so good. Holy water. That's probably... Hey, I do have a pouch of sand, though, so that's good. I'm going to need that for the fire serpent. Seven Serpents, da-da-da. There you go, Kaka. Pick you off. Our serpent is vulnerable to oil. Fire serpent is vulnerable to sand. Moon serpent is deathly afraid of fire. Sun serpent is only vulnerable to water. And clave the cliff, the entrance to the Locklands. Alright. That was actually a very productive, whatever the hell I just did. Talk. I gotta find a way to destroy the Sun Serpent without releasing it. You're back in the sunshine of the clearing. You feel the serpent in your bag, enlivening it as it senses the heat and light around. You have the sense that things are watching you from the trees. Time to move on. My biggest fear with taking this orb is that I'm gonna do something that accidentally breaks it. Like, I'm gonna, fall or something like that, and the orb is gonna crack, and then I'm screwed. So I have to be very careful while I have this thing. Things rustle in the branches all around. The sun has all but gone. It will be dark soon. The path passes by a heavy thicket of tangled branches. Yeah, for long, somehow I don't think eating the sun serpent's gonna be a good idea. The dense bushes curl up around themselves in a tangle. Peering between the branches, you can make out something covered over.
You begin to slice at the branches, but the wood is thick and gnarled. You might be able to cut through, but it would risk hurting the blade. From deep inside the bush, a bird erupts. You jump back in alarm, and it flaps upward to the sky. Uh, can I use the wax? I can't remember what its spell is. Raz. No. Raz. I can't remember. This is the problem not having a spell book. I think it might. Is it Raz? What is Raz? Using another handful of your beadwax, you rub down the blade of your sword and weave your enchantment. The blade gleams and glitters as it sharpens itself to a razor edge. Your sword, magically sharpened, makes short work of the old wood. The foliage falls away to reveal first a glassless window, then the top corner of a door. It seems the branches are growing in front of and out of an ancient hut. You keep cutting until you have uncovered the door enough that you might be able to pull it open. Before going inside, you think to peer into the window. You can make little out through the thick foliage that continues inside, but it seems the hut is otherwise empty. Then for a moment, something seems to move, but looking again, you see nothing. You heave on the door, hauling it open. Ancient dust spills out onto the forced air, and a million crawling things scuttle from the holes in the ancient wood. The air from inside the hut is old and stale, but does not stink of death, decay, or animal. You look about for where to go. Let's check it out! What's up? There a snake in here? You push your way inside the ancient overgrown hut. There are patches of yellow moss, much like the one you tried earlier, growing on the back wall of the hut. You gather up a handful of the moss. You chew through the moss, feeling much better for it. In the thin sunlight through the windows of the hut, you can make out writing on the far wall. This is the house Alizi built, and in its doorway blood was spilled. That blood has dried and gone, and poor Alizi is still alone. Looking at the doorway, you see the dark shadow of a bloodstain wiped carefully around the sill like a ward against an evil spirit. Not that such magic works, of course. The only true magic comes from the stars. At least, that's what they told you. There are a few more things scratched into the wood. You look at the other scratch marks. They are hard to comprehend precisely. One appears to depict a person in a circular bubble, floating harmlessly above a raging tornado or whirlpool. Another shows a fiery ball, perhaps the sun, perhaps not, being drenched by a fist squeezing what looks like a handful of berries. One appears to depict a person. It's weird. Looking to the dim corners of the hut, you uncover an old vial of water. As you lift it to the light, it gives off a very faint shine. In your mind, you feel the fox's gentle voice. The water in this vial is blessed to the god Gred. You place a vial of holy water into your pack. A lucky find. You slip through the branches until you're outside the hut once more. There's nothing more to be done. You leave the hut behind. I guess I should probably actually have slept in that hut, but oh well. Too late now. The path winds tortuously through the forest. The gleam on your sword edge fades. Another night begins. You need rest. You pause suddenly. A heavy dark shadow lies around the path. A rock, perhaps, or a gap in the ground, or a tail. Well, there's only one thing to do in this scenario. Hit up probably my favorite spell in recent memory, Sus, because I don't want to die. You weave the constellation to a pattern around you, and a calm voice speaks into your thoughts. It tells you there's nothing to fear here, at least nothing beyond the normal dangers of a dark forest. You approach the shadowy shape slowly. It is large, reaching from one side of the clearing to the other, and about chest height. It does not appear to be moving. Steeling your courage, you approach the shape. It forms blocks your path fully, but if it is alive, or part of something alive, it does not notice your presence. You reach out a hand to touch the shape and feel the rough surface of bark. The shape is a tree trunk fallen across the path. You sigh a deep sigh of relief. The place feels to explode. You camber over the trunk and move on. Can I go back to the cottage? Please? You walk on between the trees. The moon sets. More star appears. You are close to the empty hut once more. Where to now? Push your way into the nature overgrown hut. Sleep here. This is a good, safe place to sleep. At least you have eaten well already. You close your eyes and let your tiredness overtake you. You feel untouched by danger here, and your slumbers unbroken by dreams. The empty hut, day 9. You gain 1 provision, reached the forest of Snada, and you collected the Sun Serpent, the first of 7 serpents. Alright.
You are woken in the morning by sunshine, sneaking through the tangled branches outside the hut. But you are not alone. Hello, whispers the girl crouching beside you. She's holding out a bow. I thought you would like something to eat. You sit up slowly. The girl smiles nervously. You've been asleep for some time. Who are you? I live here. This is my home. She puts her bowl down on the floor beside you. It seems to contain some kind of gray gruel. You take a cautious mouthful with your fingers. It is thick, sour, and foul. But it is food all the same. After a few more mouthfuls, you begin to grow accustomed to the taste. I don't like it either, the girl admits, watching your face. It's sponge flesh and Staticat's milk, with a few berries for flavor, she shrugs. It's pretty disgusting, but it's food. I've eaten worse, she grins at that. Me too. A moment later, she has vanished. Where are you? You call. Right here, comes a reply, as though from your elbow there is no one there. You get up, thinking to search the corners of the room. There's nothing there that could provide anywhere to hide. Then suddenly, the girl is in front of you again, a little wide-eyed. What's the matter? She asked. You vanished. She looks surprised. I did? She runs her finger around the inside of the bowl, scooping up what's left. Where are you from, you ask? You weren't born in the forest, surely? She shakes her head. I was born in Tidpang. There used to be a bridge, but it's gone now. I suppose whoever destroyed my city destroyed it too. Your city was destroyed by the Archmage? The Archmage couldn't save us. It happened too fast. She looks glum. I don't know how I survived. The girl steps away from the door and then once again disappears from view. This time she reappears much faster. It is clear from her manner that she does not notice it happening. You live alone, you ask? She shrugs, looking around. Everyone else here has disappeared. Picking up the bowl, she drains the last few dregs of Smattercat milk from it. Come with me. She smiles. To where? She sighs. Though there's nothing keeping me here. All right. She points to the doorway. Lead the way. You head for the door. You step outside, thorn branches catching on your cloak, and then you turn to wait for the girl to appear. But she has vanished again. You call for her, but she does not reappear. Are you there, girl? There is nothing but silence. The overgrown hut is quite empty. Then a moment later she is at your side once more, breathless with excitement over something. You really can't see me, she exclaims breathlessly. I closed my eyes and crept up on you, and you couldn't see me. You thought I'd disappeared. I thought you had gone. I was right in front of you, waving like this. She waves her hands in front of her face, somewhat annoyingly. Then she glances away into the trees. So which way are we going? You leave the hut behind. Should I take her back to... Well, I don't know where the hell I'm going, so let me take her back here. So hopefully they can at least be friends. You trace what might be a path. It might be an old river through the trees of the forest. A few clouds hurry across the sky. If we're going to travel together, you should know my name. I'm Elise. Greetings. Greetings, she replies with a somber nod that mocks yours. But I don't know your name. You tell her. She shrugs. What a strange name, she replies, before taking your hand to walk with you. Paths lead in both directions into the trees. This is a dangerous place, the girl said. The witch who lives here is a serpent in disguise. Is that so? She nods. I've heard her voice. She's evil. You go over to open the door. Don't, hisses Alizi. She'll come for us. So have you met this witch before, you ask? Never, she says, shaking her head. I'm very good at hiding. I don't think she knows I exist, but I've stolen plenty from her. She's harmless, you insist, but the girl is not convinced. You say you can't see me when I close my eyes, she said. Is that right? Yes, you reply, but you see Alizi lower her eyelids, and then she disappears, smoothly and completely from view. The forest path is quiet silence. Open your eyes, you suggest. We should not waste time. Nothing happens. A few leaves shiver in the breeze. Don't play games, you call, but even as you speak, you sense you're alone. There is no sound, no pretense, no sense of presence. The girl simply disappeared somewhere between the trees. You fall quiet for a moment, but hear nothing. It seems she has gone. There's movement from inside the hill, and the elf witch appears. You! What do you want? I bought someone to meet you. She leans outside the door and looks this way and that. Went wrong, did it? She did not trust you. Then she was wiser than you, most likely. She moves to close the door. You let Finestra close the door and step away from the hill. This is an open place, not somewhere to wait.
Alright, well that didn't go well. I guess we'll just keep moving on then. Did she just actually leave me forever? Maybe I should go back to her house? Let's see. My favorite spell, my favorite spell, favorite spell. Cast the enchantment and a quiet voice begins to speak to you. It informs you quite quietly that the hut is not empty. With that, the spell fades. Uh, See, it'd be great if I knew what all these spells did. Nope. Dock. Far. See, that's the problem with not having my dang spell book. Hmm. Doesn't look like I really have a lot of options. I can't cast far because I don't have an orb. Sap seems like a bad thing because it'll just make her sad. I could try Dock, I guess. Spell you cast something which is not needed for the spell. Alright, well I guess I'll cast Sap because I don't have really any other options. This is a bad idea, probably. Looking into the constellation overhead, you craft the spell and immediately you feel yourself losing energy and drive. With no other creatures nearby, the magic has turned on you. You return to the forest path. Alright, well I guess that was a failed storyline. Nothing else to do, you leave the path behind. That was a fun adventure. The path winds tortuously through the forest. The trees shelter you from the early afternoon heat. A large ancient tree has fallen down across the path here. You clamber up onto the trunk and look off into the distance of the trees. To the east, the mountains rise tall and cold, and a gleaming to the south suggests a pool of water. Soft plop echoes from the tree trunk. You leave your pack on the tree trunk and move carefully along its length, eyes peeled for what was making the noise. Suddenly, of its own accord, your pack topples from the trunk and onto the ground. You return to your pack and reach down to pick it up, and something bashes you backward. Flesh blood springs to your arm. You have been scratched by deep claws, but you can still see nothing. Oh, great. It's these stupid cats. Thing is, I don't really have anything to... Yeah. Wait, I think I can do that. Grabbing the wig from your pack, you pull it onto your head and weave your spell. The faint growls in the trees slowly begin to slur, turning into distinct words. The creature appears to be talking to itself. Left side open, stay down, stay low. I can hear you, you call back, speaking in the creature's language of growls and whines. Stay where you are. It tries to fool me, but it can't, it murmurs to itself. Being invisible has clearly driven this creature quite insane. Leave or I will skin you, you declare boldly. This is your only warning. The creature seems to consider it for a quiet moment. Then it launches itself forward. Suddenly, long gashes appear on your arm, as claws that you cannot see seem to rake your flesh. For a moment, you feel hot breath on your cheek, then it is gone. Oh, jeez. Is there a spell that I can use here? No, I don't want to do that. You cast a spell. In the undergrowth nearby, you hear a growl turn slowly into a whine. Then something moves through the leaves and slinks away. Whatever it is has gone for now. You collect your pack once more. I was worried that it was going to break my stupid Sun Serpent. At least it didn't, but I lost a lot of stamina in that exchange. You walk on between the trees. The afternoon is starting to draw on. The forest path curves up the shore of a deep, flat pool. You take a moment to forage through the nearby bushes for edible-looking plants. You find a couple mushrooms and a handful of nuts. Put the nuts in your bag. They should serve for the meal. You tear off one corner of the mushroom and put it on your tongue. It tastes well enough. Leave the mushroom without further experimentation, knowing better than to trust strange fungus. The water extends away to the southeast towards the dark shadows of the next range of mountains. It's not quite a lake, but a large pool. Who knows how deep it is? On the far side, you see another stone tower. The water must be freezing cold, but if you had to swim, you probably could survive it. You march on. You follow what might be a path and what might be an old river through the trees of the forest. The evening is strong, soon the trees are alive with movement. I guess I'll go north. I think I'm going to spend all my time in this dang forest. Things flutter in the trees all around. The sun is sinking. Something looms between the trees, and you emerge into something of a clearing to find a towering stone structure built into the earth. Not a tower, but one leg of an enormous arch. Who could have built such an incredible thing, and how long ago was it done? The trees are thinner, replaced by climbing weeds and shrubs that grow in and around the broken stones of the bridge. You make your way to a point where the path splits. You crane your neck back to look at the stone pillar. It is made of bricks, each one a normal size, but thousands upon thousands in number. They climb up into the air in a stack no wider than a tree, but 3 times taller than the tallest in the forest. Then, almost beyond what you can see, the stone begins to form a curve, branching into the beginning of an arch. The rest of the arch has crumbled into ruin, and the single leg is all that remains. The pillar might be climbable, otherwise several paths lead into the trees. Yeah, let's try to climb it, see what happens. Probably death. Intrigued, you approach one of the brick pillars to see if it might be climbable. Indeed, the stones are worn and filled with pockmarked holes and fingertips. You cannot seem to manage to climb while you are holding your sword. You'll have to unbuckle your blade if you want to climb up. YOLO. You unbuckle your weapon and leave them in a tidy pile at the foot of the pillar, covering them over with large leaves. Then you begin to climb. Going is tough, and once you start, you begin to understand quite how tall the stone pillar is. You barely reach the fourth canopy when you need to stop for breath, and at the same time, you're not even a third of the way up the top of the arch. You keep climbing. After 5 more minutes, your arms are aching with the effort, but you have an incredible view across the forest. It fills the basin, from the mountains in the east to those in the west. Its canopy so tightly self-entwined it is almost like a sea. The top of the bridge is still some distance above you. You climb even higher until your arms begin to scream with pain. You are so high up now that to drop would not simply be fatable, it'd be enough to bury you 6 feet in the earth. Before your arms give out, you swing yourself onto one of the bridge's levels to rest. This is a lower roadway, one layer down from the top of the bridge. Perhaps this was used for servants or goods trucks when the road above was for nobles. At any rate, there seems to be no stairs or ramps to the higher level, but the view is incredible. Looking down into the forest, you can make out a tower through the treetops to the southeast. Brass shines from its top. Looking southwest, you see a flash of fire through the trees, squirming and moving in a curious way. And to the northeast, you see curling smoke rising as through from the chimney stack, though you cannot see a house. The wind blasts through the arches for a moment, making a fluting, moaning sound. Okay, that seems important. The tower's in the southeast. Southwest is fire. And northeast is smoke. So those are all probably serpents, I would guess. He paused to admire the arches holding up the layer above. Graceful and giant stones stacked with unerring precision. Whoever built this must have been 3 times the size of the largest hill giant, yet as dexterous as a weaver. Scratched into the stone, you see a small insignia. Something rustles in the weeds nearby. You approach the bushes, then freeze. A pair of eyes is drawing back. You listen intently. Something is crawling on its belly towards, trying to stay hidden. Whatever is lurking there, it is crawling closer. Thankfully, despite your lack of a sword, you are not totally defenseless. You pull out the short sword from your pack and attack. The creature is so surprised it leaps backwards, and a sudden shift in the light causes the bridge to disappear for just a moment. The creature in the bushes shrieks. The voice is human. "Who's there?" you demand. "Now there," says the voice softly, "is a voice I have not forgotten." You stare in surprise. It is Flanker. The assassin jumps ably to his feet and then brushes himself down. Well met. "What are you doing here?" "I am making my way to High Zaman," Flanker replies, "where I am needed." You can see the wilds of the Bachlands have been harsh on the assassin. His eyes burn with a hollow fire. "How did you get here?" you continue. "To this bridge." He answers with fanatic's precision. "I leapt across the Badu Bak Gorge. I climbed the Badu Bak Ridge and used my climbing hooks to descend into the trees. I've killed 7 snaticats before I found this bridge in which to shelter." He nods once. "How have you made the journey?" By means of beacons. The beacons, he demands. You have used the magic of the Archmage? Then no doubt he is sending Birdmen as we speak to have your head. As he speaks, he draws his sword and runs two gloved fingertips along its length, honing the edge. I had no choice. There is always a further choice. Flanker shakes his head. A single movement. You are so reckless, Annalander. Foolish. Why are you needed in High Zaman? I was set to my mission many weeks ago. The goddess demands it. I go where my blade is needed. What do you know of the Seven Serpents? You ask. I know nothing of the serpents. Nothing at all? My path is to avoid these serpents. They do not hunt me, and I do not seek them. I will defeat them. You may, Flanker concurs. You may not. The odds you face are your own decision. He grimaces. Annalander, I do not mean you ill, but time spent with you is most dangerous. Help me before you go, you demand. Remember, you are in my debt. Flanker considers a moment, then nods. In truth, I know something of your serpents. A black elf whom I killed for her supplies told me that the air serpent has a weak body when in gaseous form. It may be true, it may not. I cannot be sure. With a final salute, two fingers drawn across the neck in the manner of his guild, Flanker straps his sword to his back and swings himself onto a pillar. With enviable speed, he scrambles up to the top of the bridge. Last you see him is a figure in black, leaping away to the east. Turning your eyes to the eastern mountains, you spy the end of the bridge, jutting a short way over the valley. Beyond it, you catch the flash of water. Lake Ilkaka. Somehow, then, you must climb those summits if you mean to continue your journey. Giant stone pillars cast long shadows. The emblem forms the shape of a jagged peak. You recognize it, of course, from your training. It is the jagged rocks of High Zaman, on which stands the fortress of the Archmage. These stones were set by Zaman magic then. It is said the Archmage is old, but surely not so old as to have overseen this? You look out at the side of the bridge for handholds to the top, but can find nothing that looks safe enough. It seems this is as high as you will be able to climb. Birds wheel and turn between the stones above. You swing yourself back off the bridge, onto the pillar. Your arms are somewhat rested, but quickly start to burn once more. You will have to return quickly to the ground. Whoop. Slowly, painstakingly, you make your way back down and retrieve your weapon. There are several directions in which you could continue. Okay, well I did get another clue, which is nice, right? The air serpent leaves its body, as a gas, its body is vulnerable. Okay, let's see. I guess I will go this way. You head west, following the line of the bridge into the trees. Oh great, it's getting nighttime again. The path winds tortuously through the forest. Night falls. You should try to find somewhere safe to sleep. Strange shapes loom from the darkness on either side. Unseen things growl close at hand. You continue to walk. Maybe I'd be better off going back to the bridge? You crash through thick trees, opening up a new path. Bushes scratch and cut as you go. You pause as a thin red-colored snake slides across my path. You play a few notes on the flute, but it seems you are no talented snake charmer. The snake appears to be watching you, but then lowers its head once more and begins to slither away down the path. You follow the snake into the undergrowth. For a moment you lose sight of the creature, then a flash of red reassures you that you are still on its tail. The snake should be far ahead of you. It is almost as if it wants you to follow. The snake reaches the foot of the tree and coils around the trunk. As you watch, the snake slithers quickly up the trunk. A moment later, its head drops down from a branch to stare at you. You approach the tree, catching a glimpse of thick red band in the branches. Then suddenly, the whole thing erupts into flame. You jump back, but as soon as it began, the fires goes out, leaving a badly charred tree. Looking up into the branches, you see the red snake peering down at you. It has grown tenfold in size, and two fiery wings are now folded across its back. Sly eyes watch your movements as if deciding its next attack. You stare in shock and fear. This blaze of the hissing fury must be the fire serpent. Wait, but, but, I have the fire serpent. I have. Wait, what? Huh? How did this happen? Didn't I have the fire serpent in the ball? Did he get out? What? Did she lie to me? Did the other girl lie to me? Okay, well, all right. I have 6 stamina, but I have sand. You open your pack and look for something useful. If this is a fire serpent, then its weakness is sand. The creature watches you cautiously. You wait to see what the serpent will do. It roars, breathing flame from its nostrils, then drops from the tree, ready to attack. Oh, you're right. I have the sun serpent. Shit.
Alright, well, it's Fire Serpent time. Let's do this. Oh god, this is gonna be miserable. I'm so about to... Oh god! Flames surround the serpent as it launches itself towards you. You take 2 steps back and raise your guard. The serpent barrels forward, flying arrow-like through the air only to crash against your defense. The creature coils its scaly body. The flames around the serpent seems to dull for a moment. A quick stab cuts through the serpent's scales. The serpent is rearing back, but you catch it as it retreats. The creature claws draw inwards. Haha, okay, I'm off to a good start. Your only hope is to keep up the attack. You do not hold back. You slice and dodge, avoiding the worst of the serpent's fiery gas. The snake is clearly fearful, moving back, attempting only a minor attack. The serpent sits and hisses. You have injured it. The creature flies up into the air, opening its jaws wide and baring teeth like daggers. Oh boy, this is gonna be rough. The flames lapping around the creature draw sweat from your brow. You drop back as the serpent propels itself forward, jaws stretched wide and brimmed with fire. A smell of acrid smoke fills the air, but the creature's teeth do not sink into your flesh. Snake eyes narrow and watch you. Okay, I'm whittling it down. For a moment, it seems like the creature is recovering its strength. You cut, slash, and dodge. The creature flies a short distance up into the air. Ah, balls. You take a step away, and the serpent lashes out quickly with the tip of its tail. Fire licks the edges of the serpent's mouth. I can only defend 2 more times. I'm probably just going to die just because I don't have enough stamina. You keep your guard high, expecting the worst as the serpent arcs forward. Quickly sidestepping, the creature smashes into the bushes behind, sending up a wall of sparks. Birds scour your skin like whip strokes. The creature shifts back a little. Every moment wasted is risk, and you cannot risk a moment more. A rapid slash bites into the serpent's hide. The creature turns its fiery body. Stroke after stroke, you keep out at the serpent. You cut and move, slipping past the serpent's fiery breath. The flames around the serpent flicker to a deep dark red. The fearsome serpent rears its full height up into the air. Oh, geez, I got 1 more block. You drop a short distance from the serpent as once again the fire serpent tries to bury itself in your chest. You push it back. The smell of seared flesh fills your nostrils, your own. The creature's talons curls in the fist. Alright, I gotta really play this smart if I'm gonna survive. Boop. You jab and step back. A line of fire streaks along the length of the serpent. Oh no, that's it. Ah! Dang, I actually did pretty good considering how how much I started with. Then the trees are alight with flame, and the heat is unbearable. The serpent claws break past your blade. Last thing you see are the serpent's long teeth coming in to pierce your eyes. Then the flames envelop you, and all goes bright, then dark. Alright, let's try again. So, ouch. Alright, looks the edges of the serpent's mouth. Let's do... Oh no, that's not good. Ouch. Yeah, I'm gonna have to basically do... I'm gonna have to do this perfectly if I want to win. So I may go back and try to throw sand at it, I guess. Oh, balls. Yeah, let's just try this as calm and see if I can. What's my fate? You've been killed in combat. Let's try to throw sand at it. Food. Follow the snake. Watch. You know, what happens if I just skewer it? Back. Something is definitely happening. It's growing towards his eyes. Deciding its next attack. Use a spell. I need to use the quicksand spell probably. That's really what I really need to do, but I can't remember what it is. If Huff Sap. Dang, what was the spell for the quicksand?
Sniff. Can't remember what any of these do. Um, Fall's not gonna do me any good. I don't. Yeah, the problem is I don't remember what these do, so I'm not sure if it's worth it to. And none of these really help me in combat either. I could just try zapping them, but I need that 3 stamina, honestly. Okay, use an item. Grab a bag of sand. You clamber up to the tree, but the serpent drops down in response. It begins to open its jaws. You empty your hand, scattering sand across the creature's back. Just as it begins to breathe out a column of fire, the creature's fire is extinguished immediately, and the sand seems to burn to the creature's hide. Its wings decay and fall to the ground. You drop from the tree, sword drawn. Okay, now that's much better. So yeah, see, I was thinking, I wasn't sure if I needed to use the sand before or after the combat, but definitely seems like you want to use their weaknesses before. Alright, let's go ahead and start this off right. So I think I can beat it out, regardless of what it does. Whoop. Okay. Let's teeth bearing like daggers. Ah! Get out of here. That nonsense. Wow. Okay, yeah, that was much easier. Stroke after stroke, you keep on at the serpent. You slice and dodge, avoiding the worst of the serpent's fiery gas. The fire serpent's eyes turn coal black, and it looks up at you, questioning, helpless in the final second before it turns into a dark, dead husk. No stamina lost. Flawless fighting. You step back, wiping your brow, sword heavy in your hand. Congratulations, you have defeated 2 of the 7 serpents of Mampang. Your good cheer is tempered by the knowledge that you have barely begun to defeat your enemies. There are, after all, still 5 serpents left. And I'm assuming the 2 counts the sun serpent, right? Maybe? So, if not, what's the other serpent that I've defeated? Oh, the moon serpent is waiting. It's about Hmm. Well, whatever. Yeah, I think it's the fire serpent is defeated with the provision of I don't release it, I guess. Alright, well, I guess let's keep going on. But that's good. That's at least 1 down. You walk on between the trees. You creep forward through the dark towards an area of thick curling bushes like that of claws in the gloom. You lay your pack down and settle asleep under the cover of one of the bushes. As you lay your head down, you imagine you can feel a hand reaching down and gently stroking your head. You open one eye to see the branches of the bush above you nodding against your brow. It's just the breeze. Just a dream, no doubt. The gentle caress continues along the whispering sound of vibrating leaves. You settle into a deep sleep, but for some reason you will never know, you never awake. Oh, okay. Alright, well, I guess that's not a good place to sleep, then, is it? How about no? You push your way forward, branches clawing at your face. Then suddenly you stumble and trip over. One of the tendrils of the bush is caught around your foot. Oh, that would be why I died. You draw your sword to hack away the branches, but they seem to sense the threat. Long wooden tendrils whip out, grasping your wrist and arm. You cannot swing your sword now, and meanwhile another tendril is looping itself around your neck. Oh, come on now. Tilt your head and peer into your pack. Perhaps you can get something from in there more easily than pulling your sword. Um, shaking, you reach in the bag a second. Try to draw the vial up, but if possible, it does not smash. Lifting your heel about a half inch from the ground, you position it over the vial and crush it. Thick smelling liquid splashes over your boot. The reaction from the strangle bush is immediate. The branches unwind and you are released. It seems it only attacks animals, but the sense of the essence is strong enough to confuse it. You step clear of the retreating tendrils, grasping relief at your escape. Hopefully that wasn't a important item that I just got rid of. I don't remember it, so hopefully it's not very useful. Let's see. I wonder if have I not had sound this whole time for the game? Oh well, I guess the game doesn't really have a lot of sound anyway, but I hope I've had the sound this whole time. I may not have though. Oops. You trace what might be a path and might be an old river through the trees of the forest. You still feel shaky from your encounter with a stranglebush. More stars come out. You are still some distance from the shores of Lake Ilkaka and the voyage you must take across its waters to Lower Zamin. Anyway, I guess I'm just traveling through the night now. Things scurry in the branches all around you. This is now the dead of night. A damp chill hangs in the air. Laying your pack down by the roots of the tree, you try to rest despite the strange noises that float across the landscape. You lie back and try to forget your troubles. You wake suddenly. There is a flapping of dark weeds from overhead. A giant bat is circling above you. Your journey has been plagued by these creatures. Let's see. What can I do? No, that's not what I want to do. Let's just do a sap. You turn to the starlight and to the lineman around you, focusing on the bat. The creature slowly slumps to the ground, its wings sagging. It will still attack. It's clearly starving, but it seems it can no longer muster the effort to fly. You will have to fight. Oh, jeez. Alright, well that was a waste of stamina. The bat hops towards you awkwardly. You swing out wildly, hoping to chop it in two as the bat hops back, cutting with the hooks of its wingtip. Giant bat staggers backwards. Boosh. Another chance follows. You cleave the air with your sword. The bat falls to the ground and the light in its eyes goes dark. No stamina lost. Follows sliding. Creature kills over on the ground, dead. Before Satan, you gain one provision, met flanker once more, and you collected the Sun Serpent and the Fire Serpent, meaning there are now only 5 serpents remaining. Yeah, so it is counting the Sun Serpent, so hopefully that doesn't change. You get to your feet, cloak wet with dew. You stride onwards. Do 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 do. Yeah, I know. It would have been nice to hear that earlier for long, but I just noticed that it wasn't coming through the desktop audio. But it hasn't been a huge deal. You really only missed the triumphant music from me beating the Fire Serpent. But oh well, because this game doesn't really have much sound effects normally, so it's not a huge deal. But I'm still kind of upset that. Oh well. It would have been nice to know it earlier, but it's too late now. So let's just move on. The path winds tortuously through the forest. The air moves a little, still icy but fresh. You have reached the edge of the forest. Through the trees, you can see the level steps extending into the baking sunshine. Time to choose a direction. Out of this forest, please. You head out across the steppes. The day is likely to be clear and will be hot once more. In front of you stretches another plain, more rock than dust this time. Then built layers and layers of stone stacked like scattered papers. These are the Klata Box steps, said to be the home of strange half-human, half-simian creatures. As you walk, you see a strange sight, a village of listing huts in the middle of an open space, with no walls or defenses at all. Ugly villagers lope from tent to tent, dressed in animal skins. The men and women are strong and lanky, dressed in animal skins. By the gate, 2 creatures stand with hefty wooden clubs. Klata men. The path leads into the village, or you could skirt past. Please help me. Oh god, please help me. You approach the guards. They look at you with expressions you cannot read. You nod in greeting. One of the Klata men nods in reply and holds out his hand. The other Klata man holds up 2 fingers. You open your pack to consider what these guards might want. To what, you ask? The Klata men look at you frankly. You open your pack and tilt it towards them. They peer inside, still blank, clearly uninterested. You hold out a hunk of bread and cheese. One of the Klata men takes it and gleefully eats. The other stands aside to let you into the village. Man, I can't believe I gave them food after all that, but hopefully it was worth it. You step into the center of the village. Ooh, let's check out the fire first, I guess. You head over to the fire pit, but it's unlit during the day and there's no one here. You look around the village once more. One hut is much larger than the others. Above its door is a sign depicting a picture of an awl and a hammer. It is amazing anyone here can draw, let alone perform crafts. From inside, you hear the sound of hammering. You push open the door and go inside. The Klataman looks up as you enter. He puts down the tiny hammer and pincers he has been using to repair a piece of fine jewelry, tilts his head to regard you. You greet him with a nod. He seems to understand this and nods in reply.
You step forward and look over his workbench, and he gestures with an open palm to let you look. Clodoman has a variety of fine tools, pincers, awls, and spikes for scratching and etching, even a vise. He is clearly a master craftsman, despite his species. When you are finished, he steps forward towards you, gesturing for your pack. You hold out your pack to him. He begins to rummage through, investigating everything with his long, supple hands and occasionally pausing to scratch his bulging skull, so his brain is itching at the sight of your gear. Then he digs around under his bench before finally pulling a long metal shaft and a hooked metal grip, pushes the two together, screwing and clamping with a strange hooked tool. After a short while, he pushes what appears to be a well-weighted longsword and hands it to you. You accept the sword with a grateful nod. You try and ask him what he is doing, but he ignores the sounds coming from your mouth as if they were just the banging and ringing of his tools. It seems like he's carving jewelry from colored stones. They do not seem to be precious or even beautiful, but the weird twisted shape he's carving are complex and intricate and remarkably precise. This is clearly some kind of Cloudman mastersmith. You leave him to his work. Oh cool, did I just get a free thing, or did he take something? I mean, it's kind of nice to get a sword, I guess. That's cool. Thanks, buddy. I guess that was really worth a ration, probably, in the long run. The village has no walls. You slip between two huts and back out onto the plains. Also probably a good place to sleep if I need to. Alright, so I'm willing to bet there's a serpent on the steps. I guess let's go west and then I'll make my way south. Really, I probably need to go back to the area I was at before. You march onward, ascending and descending as the ground breaks and changes level. The sun is hot now. A small patch of flowers grow here just by a small rock. Small black blooms. You smell the flowers. They emit a rich, thick smell that makes you feel somewhat giddy. Still, you feel somewhat better for it. You take another long sniff of the flowers. The scent is so strong that it makes your gaze turn briefly red and blotchy. You continue on your journey. Yeah, I kind of got the feeling that if I smelled those too much, that I would probably get killed by it. You walk on, climbing slightly across the dusty steps. The sun has reached its highest point now. Out of the shade, the air is baking hot. In the middle of the steps, you come across a strange sight. A wooden pole as high as a tree, with nothing around it. It has no knots, handles, or holes of any kind. Nothing except a level platform right at the top. Clumps of the yellow moss you saw before grow around the base of the pole. You gather a handful of moss. You munch on the moss and feel much better. You stop and look around, but can't make out much across the contours of the plain. You might be able to see more from the top of the pole, of course, from somewhere nearby. You hear singing. You concentrate and listen. There is definitely a voice singing somewhere close at hand, but there is one anywhere in sight. The pole is set into a slight rise in the ground, and you can see in all directions. An invisible creature, perhaps? Who's there? You demand, turning on the spot as you speak. Show yourself. A moment later, a shaggy face appears over the edge of the platform over the edge of the platform overhead. Who's that? It demands crabbily. Can't you hear what I was doing the singing? A man shrugs. For what? Nice to have some company, even if it does get in the way. He scratches his beard. A second or so later, a few lice shell hucks rain down on you. What are you doing up there? Singing, he answers. I see you're dumb as well as deaf. Deaf and dumb. There's a pair. To demonstrate this, he raises both hands and waves them. What can you see? You ask. The future and the past as one, the mystic calls back to you, glancing from one waving hand to the other. Joining and separating, and ghosts walking back and forth. None of us are quite when we believe ourselves to be. I've experienced this myself. Shut your face hole, the man replies fiercely. I don't sit up this pole to learn what you muddlers can learn, crawling around the ground with your full fat bellies. I'd like to learn more from you, you continue. The man does not reply, but leans away. However, a moment later, a hand appears over the side of the platform and something falls to the earth. It's a medallion. Is that for me? You are a sorcerer, aren't you? Come up. There's a pause. I hope you're a sorcerer, he adds. Otherwise, I can't get down again. You take hold of the medallion. Nothing in particular happens. Come on, then, the man says, gesturing at you. Then he disappears from you. Dust funnels across the empty plain. You turn the medallion over in your hands. It is jewel-studded and set on a loose chain. It is probably worth something. Curious as to the platform, you attempt to scale the pole, but it is impossible. There's no grip at all. In fact, it has been lacquered to a polish precisely to prevent climbers. To the north, mist rolls across the edge of the forest. That's really the only thing. I don't think there's a way that I can fly.
Sus. Let's try it big. Maybe I can just grab him and place him down. You weave the spell, inflating to more than twice your usual height. The extra height is still not enough to reach the man on the platform. Well, shit. Okay, let's try something else then. Doc probably doesn't help. Can I do 2 bigs? Huff will probably kill him. I'm worried because... Oh, what does Zen do? Is that the floating spell? Consulting the stars, you bind the magic and the medallion begins to glow as you rise gently up to the air. You are now floating off the ground. Suddenly, from out of the forest, a gigantic winged creature swoops towards the wooden pole, talons feet outstretched. It screams as it approaches. Oh, great. You draw out your longsword, but you're nothing like fast enough. The winged creature snatches the man from the high platform and begins to beat its way back north. The man singing turns into a single long string. They are both lost in the distance. Oh, well, shit. What the hell am I supposed to do now? I don't know if any of these spells will really help. You gather the stars into the island around you, lifting the gale horn, blowing a loud note. The strong winds begin to thrust across the plain, but nothing happens. The pole does not even sway in the heady wind. You float to the top of the pillar. I gotta go chase the old man that just got snatched. There's nothing on the platform apart from a few stray spots of blood from where the winged creature's talons punctured the man's side. You float down onto the pole's platform and cross your legs to contemplate the sun. A few meditative minutes go by and you feel cleansed and well rested. A moment later, you feel a great weight settle about your shoulders. It is your body weight returning. Your spell has evaporated and you are now stuck at the top of this gigantic pole. Okay, well, I guess I'll just float back down. Probably just a risky problem. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'll just zen back down. But dang, do I have to fly north to chase that guy? I don't know what I'm supposed to do, honestly. I guess we'll just zen back down. You float over the edge of the platform and lower yourself gently back down to the ground, looking up the poles and dizzying far away. You're back at the base of the pole. Move on. Because I'm pretty sure that is a serpent that just snatched that dude, but where did it go? Problem is I just came out of the damn forest. But at the same time, if that's another serpent, I'd have to pursue it. So let's go back over here and see what's going on. Dense forest. Path behind you. The padding noise follows you, but more quietly until you lose track of it. You march forward. I've got to find where that snake took that guy. He's probably dead, though. You walk on between the trees. Clouds rumble as they roll across. It will be night, so you turn down the path right in the street. However, it is. North. Move on through the trees. Northwest. Okay. Maybe I can rest here at least. At the very least, maybe this will give me a chance to see where the serpents. You settle down into a hollow by the base of the towering overgrown arch. It is good to have stone at your back. You will sleep soundly here. Removing your pack by the roots of a tree, you try to settle despite the cold. At least you have eaten once already today. You stretch out and rest. You are unharmed here, and you do not dream. You changed to using the longsword, used one provision, entered the steps, and you collected the Sun Serpent, so you've defeated 2 of the Serpents of Monpang. Move on. I guess I can't climb it again. Alright, well, let's just keep going north, and hopefully I can find where that serpent went. This might just be a waste of time, because he might just be gone, unfortunately. Sorry, call out, north. Problem is, in this forest, I guess I couldn't see him even if he was. Seems, yeah, sorry, you must find it. Yeah, I guess, whoops. I guess that serpent's gone and that old man's probably dead. Alright, well, I guess let's, head back down. That was a waste of time. Guess I'll eat a ration because I'm feeling hungry now. At least I have some. I'll eat the meat. Cool. Alright, south. Okay. So that still leaves me 1 ration left, which is nice. Yeah, I guess that old man's just dead. There's not really much I can do about that. I tried, old man. I'm sorry. Apparently I screwed up. Sorry, I tried to help you. I apparently bring everybody the worst luck. You trace what might be a path and might be an old river through the trees of the forest. The sun has all but gone. It will be dark soon. Underfoot, the earth has been turned to mud, and you notice the branches either side of this route are broken. Yeah, see, I considered that for long. That what if she was a monster in disguise? But then again, if that was true, why would they have the Sun Serpent imprisoned? You trace what might be a path and might be an old river through the trees of the forest. The sun is you check the symbol and it's rather it's been told by something through. You pause to check the mud. Sure enough, you quickly find a sign, a paw print at least twice the size of your palm. Suddenly there's a cracking in the bushes to your right, and you turn to see the towering shape of a wild bear. Can I talk to it? Let's see. Law lets me command creatures. Let me try that. Reaching up the... Oh, that took a lot of stamina, though. Reaching up the constellations above, you create the spell and reach out to take control of the bear's mind. A moment later, the spell has taken hold. Yeah, sure. You command the bear onto all fours and then lower its head so you can climb aboard. It will be able to carry you through the forest quickly if you tell it which direction to go. Cool, I got a bear friend. You crash through the trees south towards the edge of the steps. The going is good, the bear moving past, and through the branches whip at you, they do not hurt. But eventually the fell wears off. You get little warning. 1 minute you are racing through the trees, and the next the bear has hurled you to the floor, leaning in with its claws outstretched. Oh, okay. You draw your longsword. Okay, that was pointless. The bear draws itself to its full height, almost doubles you, and opens its paws wide. You drop around a tree and raise your sword, ready to defend yourself. But the wild bear, for all its growling, is clearly afraid of you. It holds back, staying out of your reach of your blade. You wait in the tense silence of the forest. It squeaks and snuffles, standing up onto its hind legs. Let's see if I can beat it out. Wow! Ha, take that, jerk. You risk an attack. Rushing forward, you charge the wild bear, engaging it as it leans back to swipe. You plunge your sword deep into its thick skin. It stomps and staggers. It can barely stand. It wallops the ground with its heavy foot. Let's do... Aha! I got this. Standing firm, you swing a mighty blow at the wild bear just as it reaches out to rears to attack you. You cut its attack down. The bear staggers backwards into a tree, which bends and almost snaps. The bear drops into all fours and roars. Dropping your weight, you chop a mighty stroke against the wild bear. Then your sword finds a soft place in the bear's body. It roars and tumbles to the ground, quite dead. No stamina lost. Flawless fighting. You wipe your sword on the grass and look around, trying to get a handle on where you are. You reach the edge of the forest. Through the trees, you can see the level steps extending into the vacant sunshine. You march on. Hey, maybe I can actually spend the night at this village now, after my random and pointless detour. Past. Let's see if they'll let me sleep here. Guys, I kind of need this food though. Or else we'll let you pass. Look around the weird houses. I didn't want to give them my last food. Sorry, guys. I already gave you some food. Fellow classmate and Cladwood sprawled around, singing songs that consist of barks and squawks, occasionally turning a roach pick on a spit. One stands as you arrive, slapping her chest and then her head in some kind of greeting. You reply with the same gesture, and the clouded woman stares in amazement, then falls about laughing. She repeats the gesture once more. You repeat the gesture once again. The cloudedman's eyes seem to all but pop out. Suddenly she leans forward and smiles strangely, drawing up her lips and showing her teeth, which she then begins to pick. This continues for a moment, but when nothing happens, she stops in evident puzzlement. Perhaps she thought she was looking at a mirror. One of the cloudedmen by the fire waits you over and tears off a leg of pin. You accept the roast meat, which is almost raw and barely palatable. Another of the cloudedmen brings you a mug of tea-like broth that accompanies the meat, the way a running nose accompanies a feverish cold. You tear off another leg of pig and munch it down. The cloudmen seem content. Presumably, living so close to the forest, they have a good supply of creatures to hunt. Do you know of the Seven Serpents, you ask? One of the cloudmen stiffens at the words. Perhaps he recognizes them, or has heard them from someone else. Either way, he begins to point vigorously at the fire with one hand, while with another, he lifts a handful of dust from the ground and makes as if to throw it on the flames. You realize he's telling you the weakness of the fire serpent. Sand. He repeats this pattern a few times before seeming to forget what he is doing and sitting back in silence. Suddenly, there is a sound behind you, followed by hushed silence. Turning, you see a well-built cladderman, taller and stronger than the rest, approaching with an unsteady gait. Before you can react, he lifts you and tosses you across the fire to a patch of ground near the gate. Okay. But wait, I already had that clue. Why did it say I had a new clue? Oh, maybe because I technically didn't have it already? I don't know. Weird. Alright, whatever. Let's fight, buddy! If that's how you want to roll, let's do it! The large cloudman stumbles after you, growling loudly. You cannot understand his meaning. Then he raises a large club. You nod in greeting, and the creature takes the opportunity to strike you on the head with his club. It's clear he does not fight fair. Alright, well, if he doesn't fight fair, I won't fight fair either. Jerk. Let's see. Let's not do a law. Yes. I don't really know what any of these do, honestly. Sus isn't really going to help me out here. Can't remember what Gak is. I think it has something to do with talking. Yeah, let's go with the sap. Sap's good. You spin the constellations as shaped around you, but the cloudman seems unaffected. It seems that he's so out of touch with this feeling that altering them has no effect at all. Alright, well, I guess let's fight, because otherwise I'm gonna die. Draw your sword, and Cloudman draws back and slips over his teeth in a cruel smile. Then he sets about attacking you. Alright, buddy, if that's how you want to play. Oh, balls. The Cloudman raises his club into the air and roars. A group of cloud afloat gather to watch. You swing hard, quite certain this will be a fight to the death. The creature charges straight at you. He strikes you hard, and you are sent flying backwards into one of the tents. The watchers slap their ties with open palms. Moving swiftly, you aim for his midriff. The cloudman blocks your blow. He makes a deep, irritating chuckling sound. Now he's holding back. You strike again. You chase the creature with a passing blow. The cloudman turns away, as though confused as to exactly where you are. Perhaps you do not see past his eyebrow at all. He beats his huge chest and roars. Wow. You lunge forward again. Moving quickly, you go for a straight lunge for his temple. The cloudman is wide open, arms raised, and cannot defend himself. The cloudman reels, suddenly crashing into the guy rope of a tent. Gas goes up from the assembled crowd. The cloudman pauses to grunt his supporters in the tribe. You drop into a defensive crouch. The cloudman tries a weak spring, but you duck out of the way. It seems he is uncertain what to do next. Moving efficiently, you thrust for his chest. The cloudman tries to dodge. The cloudman grunts with frustration as he turns in the air and falls into the fire. For a moment, you think that might be that, but then he struggles to his feet once more, clearly badly burned, but not defeated. Ah, shoot. I wanted to go try to finish him off. You strike again, moving swiftly. You aim straight for his swing for his throat. Cloudman drops into his defensive crouch, moving with more speed than you might expect. Gotcha. You lunge forward again. Moving quickly, you go for his groin. The Cloudman staggers back one step, then another, until suddenly he cannot seem to stop, and he disappears between two huts and out of the village northwards. Rough stamina lost. 4 stamina lost, rough going. The other Cloudmen go and find their fallen champion. One of the Cloud women slaps you on the back. Another Cloudman beckons from outside a nearby tent. His face is painted with strange spirals and markings. Alright, let's go check him out. You head over to the beckoning Cloudman. From his tent, you catch faint whiffs of strange herbal smells. He is no doubt their local sorcerer. You nod a greeting, which he returns, placing both hands on either side of your face. Then he begins to murmur a strange blessing. You feel strength filtering deep into your bones. His gift is powerful and deep. When you step back, you feel stronger, taller, and more confident. You bow in thanks. He smiles and walks away from the fire. Intrigued by the Cloudman's first clue, you try to ask him about the serpents once more, but he begins to merely repeat the same performance. You look around for something you use to communicate further. You indicate your sword, and the Cloudmen nod to one another, but it's unclear what they are saying. Perhaps they simply like swords. Should you try something else? You point down into the water of the nearby teacup, and the Cloudman nods. Grabbing a handful of burning fat from the pig on the spit, he tosses it into the cup. The Cloudman whose cup it was becomes enraged, and the two begin beating each other around the head with rocks. Still, perhaps it is a clue. You nod your thanks for the conversation. What can you tell me of the force of Snada, you ask? The creatures look blankly between one another, blankly. For all their human shape, they do not seem to have a human thought in their heads. You stand and take your leave of the flyer. Alright, well, let's see if I can reach here. One corner of this camp is slung with hammocks. What they are for is unclear, as the cloudafloats seem to have tents, but a few creatures are asleep in them already. You haul yourself up into one of the hammocks. They are far too large for a normal human, but this in fact makes it only more comfortable and ensures there is enough room for your pack. At least you don't need to eat more today. You close your eyes and let your tiredness overtake you. You seem left alone here, and your night is untroubled by dreams. Cloudman Village, day 12. During the past day, you gained a little maximum stamina, used 1 provision, and you collect the Sun Serpent, meaning there are 5 still out there. Alright, the next morning. You awake after a peaceful night in one of the hammocks, feeling much refreshed. Alright, well, let's duck out. This might be my favorite town. They're so nice. They healed me, they let me sleep, they gave me food. Yeah, they gave me food. You keep moving, not rations, but food. You keep moving, the ground dropping a little. The sun has not yet crested the last peaks in the east. To the southeast, a huge mountain top arises, its peak dusted with snow. It is the southern extent of the horns of Ilkaka. Near its base is a carved shape, a turreted tower built into the sun of the slope. Drawn by some instinct, you regard the compass. Its needle has swung to point south, not in the direction of the mountain and tower, but somewhat further to the west. You put the compass away once more. Continue to walk. Let's go south. You fall into a steady pace as you walk, ascending and descending. The day is likely to be clear, and will be hot once more. Scrubland is broken quite suddenly by small waist-high posts, to which is nailed a written notice. You pause to read the sign. The writing is crabby and difficult, but you slowly decipher it. Stop, traveler. Every wish can come true, for this post marks the grave of the god Benaga. Call his name, and close your eyes, and be blessed forthwith. Yeah, how about let's hit up a good ol' sus, because I don't trust this one bit. You cast a spell and a steady voice enters your mind. The voice indicates that there is some danger here, but it does not specify what it is. The spell fades. Oh, well, screw it, let's do it. You stand carefully by the post and call out Benaga. At least I know there's danger, that's the important thing. Nothing seems to change, there's no sense of danger or blessing in the air. You close your eyes as the note instruction. Nothing happens. You sense no danger. You call it again, but there's still no response. Then you feel something move under your feet. You wait, and then your stomach churns. You are falling. You tumble, landing in the bottom of a conical sandpit that is open beneath your feet. The top of the post is now only just visible, sticking out the dirt in the bottom of the pit. Alright, well, good thing that old man gave me a medallion before he got totally murdered by a random snake. Let's hit up a Zen. Looking to the stars, you craft the magic, and the medallion begins to glow as you rise gently up into the air. Something stirs in the dirt underfoot. You dig a little into the sand around the base of the pit. For a few minutes, you uncover the bottom of the pole, and beneath it a chain. This is part of some mechanical contraption. A claw appears through the sand in the side of the pit. The side of the pit collapses as baby body beetle emerges. There's no time to do anything but draw your sword. Yes. Wow. Okay, that wasn't worth it. The body beetle turns about on the spot, as though it has lost track of you for a moment. It tries to nip you. You swing your sword quickly and bite into its underbelly as it rears back. You follow up quickly before you lose ground. You aim a blow for its bug eyes. As the body beetle approaches, your blade lands deep. The creature is losing its spines one by one. It scuttles forward. You drop back, raising your sword to protect your body as much as possible. The body beetle lunges, striking with its long arm. The claws seem to grow as they reach for you. It stiffens and then rears up. Oh, what? That's not a rear up attack. What is that nonsense? The creature's arms are as long as spears, but then you see an opportunity. You chop at its legs. The body beetle, mid-lunge, bends away from your blade. It scuttles backwards. Oh, what the hell? This guy is like being very defensive. You push forwards. You rush forward and stab. The body beetle hunkles low. It straightens up. Yeah, it's just doing very low attacks. Your sword cleaves piece after piece from the creature's side. You slice for the bug. The body beetle shifts backwards, scuttling across the dirt. The body beetle stumbles and its jaws stretch wide in rage. Its long claws stretch. There we go. That's what I was expecting from the beginning. You circle away from the body beetle. It dashes forwards, bouncing across the dirt. You fall over yourself trying to escape of its reach. Its hind legs begin digging in the dirt. Let's do a 3. Oh, okay. That works too. Man, I'm just gonna have to nickel and dime this guy to death. You prepare your sword, flanking the creature you swing as the body beetle's eyes turn briefly dark. It shifts sideways. Boop. You press the advantage. You sideswipe, moving left as the body beetle stoops. The creature's vicious claws open and close. Alright, let's hit a big one and hopefully we can finish it. Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here with that nonsense. Your blade cuts fragment after fragment into the beetle's shit and its hide. You swing your blade fast, then your blade lands deep. You cut again, twist, and the body beetle collapses on the dust. 2 stamina lost. Skilled swordplay. The beetle has died on its back. You scramble up its body, and get close to the edge of the pit. You look over the dead beetle. Around one leg is a small metal tag on which is inscribed the word Binaga. Most curious. You clamber onto the beetle's hind legs, then scramble leg by leg up the body into the edge of the pit. The beetle's body shifts under your weight, and you clamber out just in time as it slides down out of reach. The dead beetle's body lies at the bottom of the pit. You leave the side of the pit. You float onwards. Let's see. That looks like another tower, but I guess let's, I feel like there might be a snake around here, so let's, considering I think he's gonna. The snake that took the old guy, I'm assuming, will return here because this is probably his domain. So I'm gonna look around a little bit before I go to the tower. You march onward, climbing slightly. Your weight returns and you settle gradually back down to the ground. It is very warm now. You begin to sweat on your pack. Something is visible in the distance to the south, perhaps man-made or perhaps a freak of nature carved from the rock. It resembles a low stone building. Let's check it out. You go closer until you can see more clearly what the structure is, or what it was. A ruined building standing on a stone plinth, its columns cracked and broken. The elaborate carvings on the pillars suggest it was once a temple of some kind, but it is 100 times more desolate now than the broken shrine where you found Theta and Kare. Ooh, can I go down the well? I probably don't want to go down the well. I guess let's check the temple first. Well, I don't know. Let's check the... No, let's do the plinth. You climb up onto the plinth on which the structure stands. It appears quiet enough, though whether it's structurally sound or not is another matter. One of the pillars of the temple seems to take a step sideways. Or was that imagination? You step inside the temple. The floor space is quite empty, but the walls are decorated with long lines of strange hieroglyphs that remind you a little of the symbols decorated in the ancient shrine of Kurga and Kare. You cannot read them, but you may be able to decipher them if you look more closely. Little dust trickles down from the temple roof. The hieroglyphs are not exactly like any language you have seen before, but they are similar to others you know. You spell out the first few words aloud. This temple built by priest Yadu in honor Throth, goddess of earth. Those not of faith are forbidden, and these must not speak the name Throth. You stop suddenly. There is a deep rumbling in the ground below your feet. You rush for the exit, but jump aside as a pillar falls across your path. A large rock, part of the ceiling, falls on your shoulder and you howl in pain. The whole building is coming apart, and your only route has been cut off. Shaking underfoot is growing worse. Death is certainly less the victim will become a follower of Thoth. At the third use of the goddess's name, something happens. The rumblings subside, and a woman in leather armor steps out of a carving in the wall. Mortal, she declares, you speak my name thrice in my temple. Do you wish to follow me? No. Then I will bury you, replies Thoth, opening a crack in the ground beneath your feet. From above, the roof cracks, and a slab of rocks falls. Your heart is resolute, and you are fixed. The rock overhead falls. It is your capstone, and the ground below is your grave. Alright, well, I guess I need to become a follower of Thoth then. Wait. Wait, okay. Well, hold on. That was not actually what I wanted to do. I was actually going to become a follower of Thoth because that's what I was supposed to do last time to survive, I guess. But testing the strength, you heave against one of the temple's pillars. It seems solid. Then a moment later, it shears and gives away. The whole structure is sliding down on top of you. You close your eyes and raise a prayer to the fox. The temple collapses around you. Enormous stone blocks burying themselves into the ground left and right. But none fall on you, and when the dust clears, you are still in one piece. The temple is now completely destroyed. Dust spirals into the air. You search through the rubble but find nothing of use. The plinth is now deep in broken stone and pebble-sized rocks. Gather up a couple of pebbles from the plinth, the right size and shape to be useful in spells, but of the ancient temple's treasures and artifacts, there's nothing more to be had. Alright, well, I guess that was a complete waste. I mean, I didn't tie that time, but I didn't become a follower of Thoth, which I was actually going to bite the bullet and do that because that's the only way. Because I want to, when I do rewind, I want to rewind as little as possible, so. But anyway. You skirt around this collapsed building. Around the side of the ruin, you find an old well house. The well is an ancient mud brick structure. If it once had a cover, it has long since rotted, but the metal winch handle is still in place, and an old bucket on a rope hangs from it. You haul the bucket over the side of the well and look into it. It's quite empty. Clearly, this well has not been used for a very long time. Some effort, you get a handle of the well to turn, and lower the bucket down into the well shaft. You lower the bucket all the way to the end of the rope. There's no splash from below. It seems the well is dry after all. You turn the old creaking handle, raising the bucket up the shaft. You look into the bucket. A snake leaps out at you from inside, and you spring back just in time to avoid being bitten. The bucket falls to the ground, and the snake slithers out towards you, fangs bared. Is this one of the dreaded Seven Serpents? It seems very small. Well, better safe than sorry. Wait. Kid. I don't know what half these spells do. Fix. I don't know what fix does. Let's just try and see what happens. Screw it. I ain't got nothing to lose. You raise the spell, but are lacking the focus needs, so the casting fills away. You draw a sword to skewer the creature. Start off big. Go big or go home. Go big. Yeah, take that, jerk. Get out of here. The yellow snake looms up from the bucket, spinning. You lash carelessly, aiming to slice the creature in twos, as it also shoots forward. Thick snake blood oozes in your sword. Get out of here with that nonsense. The yellow snake moves sideways, but you keep on its tail. You split the air with your sword stroke, catching it from behind. The snake is all but defeated. Aha! Perfect score! The yellow snake is afraid. Bravely, you lunge for the beast's neck. The snake hisses as it dies. You return to the side of the well. Can I float down, maybe? Off. Yeah, the problem is I need my spellbook. I don't know what half this stuff does. I think fall lets me float down, right? You cast a spell lightening your body's weight to a mere fraction of normal. You feel the inside of the edge of the well for handholds, but there are none. The stone edges of the well are smooth, and the well itself is too broad to shimmy down. But you could always climb down the rope, of course. You steel your courage and swing your legs over the edge of the well, regarding the darkness far below. The rope is old and probably rotten, and should it break, there will be no way back up. Oh, I got magic now. Hand over hand, you lower yourself into the ancient well shaft. On the well. With your reduced weight, you scramble down the rope without difficulty until you are hanging just beside a crystal seam in the rock. The seam of the crystal is quite beautiful. The soft rock walls are studded with fists and lumps of green and blue gem glass. There must be a fortune down here, perhaps even a layered strata of pure wealth. If only the Baklands could be mined by the king of Vanaland. Using your old sword awkwardly in the narrow confines of the well shaft, you dig a fistful of gems out of the wall of the well shaft, but you cannot catch them when they fall, but thankfully land in the bucket a short distance below. You have blunted the edge of your blade in the process, however. You keep digging, hoping to get even more crystal from the rock wall, and you do, getting several crystals the size of skulls. Then your spell wears off, the rope begins to groan, and then starts to spin violently. It is unraveling, there's nothing you can do to stop it. Then it snaps and you fall, hitting the bucket below. For a moment you think you are saved, but of course nothing is holding up the bucket. You fall into the depths of the well, and the bucket shatters, your neck goes with it. You'll fall into your death. Okay, well I guess I deserve that for being greedy. Let's see. Dig out the crystal with my sword, use the aniline sword instead. Climb back up. Not wanting to risk the spell, you climb quickly back up the slope. Out of the well. Raise the bucket. Look in the bucket. Check inside. The bottom of the bucket is filled with uncut gemstones and glitter. The hull must be worth scores of gold pieces. Skip up the gems from the pocket and pour them gleefully into your money pouch. An excellent find. The gems are an assortment of different types of stone, and will require an expert to sort, value, and cut them, but the sheer size of them is jaw-dropping. Several are the size of eggs, and one is the size of a small cat. Pleased with your work, you stride away from the well. Okay, guess there's not much to do here then. Continue on your way. Alright, well I guess let's head to this tower and see if I can use it. I will say I gotta probably be ending it soon, so I'll wait till the next night. I'll call it a night. Ha ha ha. You walk on, the ground dropping a little. The sun is beginning to lower. The air begins to cool. You notice something white, stark against the gray of the dust. It's just a sliver of cool light, visible through the thin, dusty scrub. Something is buried here. You wipe away the dust from the object. It is short, dirty white, and gently curved. You dig around the object and find two smaller objects to the left and right of it. They lie parallel in the dirt. You squat down on your heels and dig in the dirt a little more. Eventually you uncover three short white rods, and at that moment it becomes obvious that they are finger bones of a hand, clenched into a fist. Fist points upward, as though its owner had been buried standing upright in the soil. You keep digging. The fist gives way to a wrist, and then an arm. It is as though the creature was trying to climb out when the soil of the land closed over its head. As you go lower, the bones start to accumulate a leathery coating. First you think it is the remains of a coat, but then once you locate an anchor and sail tattoo, it becomes clear its skin, somehow preserved in the soil. You are now into serious digging, which is hard work. You pause to take a break every few minutes and stop once more when you have the figure unearthed down to the waist. Its skull is a dried leather ball, two gray-brown eyes shrunken into the sockets. It wears a metal ring through its nose, and the remains of a beard are just visible. Its jacket is better preserved. Its color faded, but its buttons still intact. It wears a small, three-cornered hat. Sticking just above the waist are the remains of some kind of harness. It is possible this figure had a false leg. You rifle through the figure's jacket, but find nothing of interest in its pockets, not even one gold piece. Around its neck, however, you find a small metal whistle, which you take. The sun begins to dip, heading towards the horizon. You work hard still, creating a deep pit and getting down as far as the figure's need. One leg is indeed wooden, the other trouser-clad and boned. The evening is drawing in. Soon it will be dark. You dig down to the figure's feet, so it is standing proud in a 5-foot hole. Water begins to pool around your feet. The sun is dropping down to the west. The figure keels over, face down against the dirt. You have wasted a lot of time unburying it, but have discovered nothing. You take the hat from the creature's head, but is of little use. It crumbles to dust in your hand. More interesting is what is left behind. Under the figure's thin covering of hair, you can see a dry, leathery scalp inked with another tattoo. You examine the tattoo carefully. It shows two long, thick lines that come together to form a V. At the top, another stroke crosses, so the shape becomes an inverted A. Inside the top of the A, near the tip, is a black X inside an O. Perhaps it is a map, but if so, it is surely too vague to read.
Begin to pull dirt back into the pit, intending to rebury the body. Suddenly, the creature in the pit begins to shiver and shake. It is moving, arms reaching out to grasp you. You waste no time in turning and running away. I just freed a zombie, I guess. You keep moving, ascending and descending. The sun has almost set, and the sky has turned a deep purple. It will be night soon. You approach the edge of the mountains at the base of an old stone tower, carved from the cliff face itself. From the battlements of the tower protrudes a strange brass cylinder. Nestled between the stones is a half-rotten closed wooden door. You try the door to the tower. It is locked, but the wood is ancient and rotten, and can most likely be easily broken. You put your shoulder to the door, but though the wood resounds, you cannot break through. Perhaps it is barred on the inside? You regard the smooth stone walls of the tower. There seems no way to climb up. Well, I guess let's try adopt real quick. Or how, if it'll let me do that. How? That'll work. You move into the starlight into order around you, and a calm voice begins to speak to you. The voice informs you that there has been a rock fall inside the tower. On the other side of the door, the lower chamber is now impassably blocked. The door, which is hinged to swing inward, will never open again. With that, the spell fades. You turn away from the tower. There seems to be no way in. The mountains to the east are impassable. The only way to walk is back across the uneven steps. Alright, I guess let's see if I can find a place to sleep. You fall into a steady pace as you walk, climbing slightly. Night falls. You need to rest, especially after so much walking on an empty stomach. Sudden sound of voices to your right startles you. You spin round to see 7 hooded shapes silhouetted against the dark. They form a circle, squatting at the ground, playing some sort of weird game, chanting in a curious tongue. You listen closely to the voices, then stiffen as you realize one is calling you by your name. We have awaited you, it breathes. You have made good time to us. We are the Seven Spirits. Come, join us. Warily you approach. Who are these creatures? How do they know your name? Will they offer advice, or are they dangerous? As their skull mask faces suggest? The spirits rise from the ground as you approach, gliding silently through the air, passing through one another as they mingle and circle you, linking hands. Caution is understandable, whispers a single voice, or 7 in unison. But fear us not. What are you? These bodies are not our natural bodies, merely shells, the voice declares. We cannot touch you. We cannot harm you. So what are your natural bodies? Long dead, whispers the voice. We died, learning a chant to protect you from harm. You must hear it. Tell me the chant. The spirits begin to turn and dance around you, chanting in a whispering unison, but you cannot understand the words. Repeat, they hiss. Sing with us. Repeating words in a language you cannot understand is difficult. You try, but stumble over the first few lines. Arbil Madarbil. The chant begins again. This time you get a little further. Arbil Mardabil. Ar Afar Arkri. Another round, and this time you get further, though you still do not know what it is you are chanting. Arbil Mardabil, Ar Afar Arki, Arbil Mardabil, Nole Dolo Mine. Silence is settling over the area. A strange, unnatural silence. Something is coming. Nole Dolomine. You sing the chant in full, louder and more confidently. The clouds begin to churn in the sky. Then a loud crack breaks the silence as a bolt of lightning skewers the place where the 7 spirits stand. The light clears, and they have vanished. Where are you? You crawl. Show yourselves. There's no reply. Something like a clawed hand has hold of you and is pulling you towards the top of the low mount. The ground itself is transforming into a face, and you are walking into its wide open smile. You struggle and strain, but there's nothing to fight but the wind. Your heels score tracks in the dust. The force on you is like 100 invisible hands. Then you are above the wide open jaws of the face in the ground. This must be holy ground to some dead spirit long forgotten by the civilized people of the world. But you will not learn its name. You are not to be a follower. You are to be devoured. You raise the sword to swing, but stumble back under the weight of it. Your arms seem unable to lift the blade. But no, looking down, you see your legs are suddenly thin and your hands are thin and bony. Reaching up to your face, you find your hair is crumbling away in clumps, and wrinkles are spreading over your skin. The serpent face in the ground laughs. The jaws of time are inescapable, it rolls. You look up to the heavens, intending to cast a spell, but you cannot see the stars anymore. Your eyes have grown blurry and unfocused, and the night swims as if you were underwater. You tumble to the ground and hear the snap of bones in your hip and pelvis give out. The serpent shift closer. You open your mouth to cry out, and your teeth scatter to the ground. A moment later, you cannot see. Another moment, you are nothing but a skeleton. You stare out through bone-dead eyes.
You are nothing but cold bones, but then the winds drop once more. The clouds roll back. The steeps are clearing. You feel yourself becoming young once more, bones strengthening and skin tightening. Whatever was pulling you towards death has released its grip. You turn to see a gigantic shape lift into the ground and swoop away northeast. It leaves a strange trail as it flies, and the wind from its movement knocks you to the ground. You stagger backwards, glad to be alive and keen to leave this cursed place. Wow, okay, so I guess that was the time serpent? Now where the hell did he go? I guess let's head back to the tower and try to sleep. You set across the steps with an easy stride, but the firm, dusty ground becomes spongy, and after a while you're no longer walking on firm ground, but rather striding between high-waisted weeds in a deep and stench-filled marsh. The moon is climbing the sky. You splash your way back to the tower in the cliff face. It seems to stand just as before, despite the mud that washes up as far as its door. Half built into the rock is the closed door. You try the tower door, but it will not budge. Oh dang, is it still... Can I still not get in here? Let's see. How? You weave the enchantment card. It tells you that there's no way on from here except backwards, except for the tower itself. The voice states. You take a run up and then charge the door, smashing straight through and tumbling on the floor inside. You pick yourself off the ground, only to find yourself staring into the sawing jaws of a wolfhound. It is clearly mad with starvation. There is no time, and no choice but to fight. Alright, so we'll beat this, we'll take a nap, and then I personally will also start going to bed. The wolfhound creeps towards you across the flagstones, jaws dripping and fur shining wet. It will not listen to reason. You charge headlong. It bounds forward only to run itself into your blade, writhing and howling. Alright, let's go with a small... I can probably do a small one, because it's probably not going to have enough stamina left after that. You risk a lunge. The wolfhound drops back. As the wolfhound grows weaker, its snarl gets madder. Go for broke! Yeah. You put all your strength into a sweep of your sword, hoping to finish the creature in a stroke. The blade connects. As the wolfhound weakly opens its jaws to bite, you plunge your blade between its teeth and all the way down into its heart. The wolfhound growls, a gurgling, blood-soaked sound that rings inside the tower, and then it dies. No stamina lost, flawless fighting. Wipe your long sword, grasp your best, you look around the room. The tower base is empty except for a slight of frost heads leading onto a hatch at the ceiling overhead. You try to ignore the smell of wet blood that fills the chamber, and search the gloomy arches under the spiraling staircase. In a forgotten corner, you unearth 3 gold pieces. Take the coins and drop them into your purse. Time to leave this gloomy place. But I want to sleep here. Can I not sleep here? You clamber up the spiral staircase, stairs to the hatch and go onto the roof of the tower. The cool winds of the step hits you full in the face, snatching your breath away. The tower stands on the slope, and one of the horns themselves, looking out over the whole of the steps. The top of this tower is another movable brass cylinder, like the last one you saw, set with a blue crystal. There are power, unusual stars here. It takes a moment of fiddling to find the correct place on the crash and bring the beam to life, but once it does, it sweeps out of the cylinder and across the land. Alright, let's see. Well, I can try to activate that other tower, I guess. Or I can try to activate some of this stuff here. I want to keep that village because that's one of the few places that I know that I can sleep. Well, I can try to activate the ruin, I suppose. Let's see. What else can I really do? I might be better off just trying to activate the other tower, maybe? I'm not entirely sure what to do here. I guess I'll do this well, and then I'll go check out the well next time I play, and then I'll come back and adjust it to the, You adjust the contraption position and focus carefully, watching the land shift and change under its light as you make your adjustment. Finally satisfied, you set the lantern into one of the crenellings of the turret and step back. When the light touches you, you feel suddenly much better. You could not choose a better place to rest. You close the hatch and lie down on top of it. Nothing will cost you now, unless it has wings. You have not yet eaten today, but only have 1 ration left. You eat the last of the food you have, the nourishing bamba fruit, and feel much better for it. Then you lie back and try to forget your troubles. You feel quite safe here, and you do not dream. You ran out of provisions and gained some gold, entered the Vishlami Marsh, and collected the Sun Serpents, so you have now destroyed 2 of the Archmage's serpents. You wake after a peaceful night and gather your pack once more. Alright, well, That was fun. I actually made a lot of progress. I killed one of the serpents, which is good. I have one of the serpents imprisoned in a glass orb, so that's also probably good until it breaks and kills me, which that will be bad. And I've met, I think, two of the other serpents. I think that was a wind serpent that kidnapped the guy, and the dang, what am I trying to say? The time serpent that I probably just met there in the hill. But the problem is I have no idea where they went, but at least I know they're around here somewhere. And then the water serpent, which I know where he is. So actually, yeah, I made a pretty good amount of progress today. So that's good. I'm happy. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed it, catch me next Monday at 6 o'clock Central Time, where I will continue getting murdered by snakes. So other than that, hope you enjoyed and have a good night. Catch you later.